Hi, everyone. Mitch from PickDogs.com here with Steve Monahan, my second of 3 shows today. Yes, it's a lot of Mitch on Thursdays. We got this show, we got the morning show, and of course, the halftime of Thursday night football show. Yeah, it kind of all comes together. Steve, how's it going?
It's going good. My day job took me to Long Island this morning, so I've been in the car basically from the morning until about 10 minutes ago.
I love. Watching my daytime weekday sports, and Blackshear ejected from this Florida St. Joe's contest, and of course, in typical Gator fashion, a whole lot of whining going on that he elbowed the guy in the face. I mean, nearly. Lucky he didn't break the guy's jaw. And meanwhile, he had only played like 1 minute in the first half. He had 2 fouls in the first 3 seconds, and that was it. So. Meanwhile, we were here late in the game, and Gators scored 41 points in the first half. I think they've scored 2 points in the second half, kind of getting to that 65 average where they sit. For the season, they're at 64 with minute 26 left to go, even though they scored 41 in the first half. I don't know. I think Mike White. I think what he needs to do is just have a net set up at practice and no passing, no nothing. Just everybody just shoot for 2 hours a day, every single day. Just nonstop, just have those racks of balls and just have like a bunch of students, that just gather balls and continue to roll the racks and just let these guys shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot. So they get used to shooting because apparently Florida has forgotten the point of the game. I don't understand it.
Well, last I checked, they were winning, weren't they?
Yeah, they're winning, but it's like they refuse to score points. They might be winning on the court, but I'll tell you, I gave out St. Joe's as a premium pick, and we're winning. We're winning big. We're getting double digits against a team that, once again, drives to the hoop and comes up empty as St. Joe's lays it in, and it's down to 2, the lead here. A 19-point lead evaporates at the hands of the St. Joseph's Hawks. And we know Marinelli is gone. He's not even coaching St. Joe's anymore.
Yep.
Steve went to St. Joe's High School, right?
That is correct. St. Joe's Montvale.
Wow. Any relation to the Hawks? It's distant cousins.
Not really a pipeline.
Very distant cousins.
The famous alums right now are the McCourty twins on the New England Patriots. They're from my high school. I think they would know that, Devin and Jason. Who else? Vinny Churchio is a linebacker for the Carolina Panthers, played in the Super Bowl against the Eagles. So there's a couple kids that have made it. John Flaherty, I actually played high school ball with, ex-Major League catcher for the Yankees, Tigers, Tampa Bay Rays. That's another name I'll throw out there. And one more, Tommy LaStella, Major League ball player from the Chicago Cubs and California Los Angeles Angels.
We'd call him the bastard stepchild of St. Joe's when you put on that Cubby uniform, I guess. Just kind of like, he went to St. Joe's also. The side whisper there. It's like, everyone knows how much I can't stand the Chicago Cubs. Just absolutely hate their guts.
I'm a Yankee fan, everybody. I'm a Yankee fan.
But of course, this is our NFL programming. We go through all the NFL games. This is the last week of bye weeks. So next week, I'll have to talk to Steve after the show. We're going to have to figure something out because we got Thanksgiving. So we won't be able to do the show at its normal time. Maybe we'll have Steve on Thanksgiving morning and do NFL show or something, pre-turkey.
Yeah, we can do pre-turkey.
Yeah, I talked this morning about like how everyone talks about how their Thanksgiving, our family gatherings and stuff. How it's always like, oh, my family's dysfunctional, my family's weird, my family just argues at the thing. It's like, like I told everyone this morning, my family is kind of always just, there was no talking at all. It was just a pure inhaling of the food. And then by the time everyone realized how much they'd eaten, it was coma time, and everyone just took a nap. And those people that had to leave, they woke up, got in their car, and somehow drove home. And that was pretty much the story.
Yeah.
I know most of the Monahan family extremely well, so I know that I'm sure it's good times at the Monahan house.
Yeah, big family, but we always had the traditional Thanksgiving. But as you get older, and the kids and everything, so everybody's kind of scattered around. So we're kind of like on our own right now. But
Yeah, just
we all get together for Christmas.
it's like, Steve, you're like the drunken, abusive uncle I never had. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, kids. Appreciate it. Another tie. Another tie. I
All right,
love.
let's see what we got on tap for the NFL. Of course, tonight we got the Colts taking on the Titans. I like the under in this one. I just think divisional games make for low-scoring games. I like these teams because they like to run and play defense. That's Mitch football. Bores the
I
hell out of
like
most
the under
people.
too.
I
I
love a
do.
good 6-0 game. I think this one has that kind of potential. I think that this could be a no touchdown game. I think also if a team in this game
Ah,
scores a touchdown, I think they could be the winner. I think it's that type of game. It's going to be one of those ones where what a lousy game it was, and I'm going to love it. But I'll be there. I'll be there at halftime regardless. But I like the under's 46.5. It hasn't budged. I still like it a lot.
I
It's
do too.
46 and a half. Is 6 touchdowns and 2 field goals. That's a lot.
Yeah, I like the under as well. I don't think the Colts really haven't been putting a lot of points up, and I think I'll just go with the under here.
Yeah, I just like the under in this one too. Um, we got the Bills taking on the Broncos on Sunday. The Broncos, the collapse in Minnesota. I don't know, was it a horrific collapse or was it a game that they had no business being in the first place? And I went on at halftime of that game, and the Broncos were up by a ton. And I said the bet in this game is the bet that the Vikings are going to come back and win this game. And it was plus 450 on the money line. I made some horrific picks on Sunday. I mean, every bounce went against me. I mean, the Raiders laying 10.5, up by 4 on the 1 yard line, first down. Richie Incognito with the illegal motion penalty pushes them back to the 6. They don't get the touchdown. They kick the field goal and win by a touchdown as opposed to 11. Whew. Those are the ones. Those are the ones. Those are the ones that make you want to cry. Those are the
Yep,
ones that make you say, "Mommy."
that is
Um,
true.
those are the ones. And but meanwhile, the Broncos, they covered against the Vikings all the way in that game. The Bills,
Yep.
it's been a little choppy recently. The last 2 weeks, losses to the Browns and to the Eagles. Their other losses to the Patriots. Not a lot of shame in that. 7-3 on the season. Uh, 6 games left to go. They go 500. They end up 10-6. That might do it in the AFC.
I think so. I think they were positioned well, especially with 7 wins at this point. I'm gonna
Yeah,
say I'm gonna like Buffalo to rebound and have a good game, and I'll take Buffalo in the points.
I like Buffalo too. I want one thing I want to say is that Allen is way better than Joe Flacco. Pretty much like we predicted. I predicted he would be at least because Flacco's just shot, and Allen at least looks fresh there, and at least he's firing the ball. He looks way better than he ever did at Arkansas. And there's St. Joe's hugging it out with the Gators. 8-point losers, which makes us 5 points to the good, getting 13 points against
Nice.
Florida. That's what I say, man. You find a team that only scores 65 points a game, you're getting 13. I'll take St. Joe's if they could score 52 points in the game against Florida. That's all they really had to do. They got 62. Florida scored 70 because of that 41-point first half effort. I will say something without giving out my premium picks, but I will say that in general, the daytime weekday sports very doggy always. Tournament neutral court games very doggy. A lot of these type of games, and these are the ones when people ask me what my picks are and they pay for my picks, and the ones that premium members, like I gave this out as a premium pick, and this is the type of pick that premium members they love, where the team that won the game didn't cover the spread, and you got the losing team that covered the spread. That's where the art is. Anyone could say, yeah, the Patriots are going to win by 50. Tease it up to 30. It's like anyone could do that. It's like it's these games. Where you kind of you crunch the numbers, you come up with it and say there's just no way in hell that this is going to happen. I mean, the Gators are 0-4 against the spread coming in, but this is going to be the magical moment because they're in Charleston. I mean, there's less people in the stands there than watch the Picks and Parlays radio show. I mean, it is a rough situation. Anyways, I like the Bills in this one.
Good pick.
I like the Bills against the Broncos, and I'm going to take them in this spot.
I do too.
Meanwhile, we move to the game with the Falcons hosting the Bucs. The Falcons -4, and the total set at 51.5. The total was at 54 in this game. It's dropped 3 points down to 51. The Falcons 4-point favorites over the Bucs. Falcons were dead in the water. Now they've won their last 2.
Yep.
They think if they go 9-7 that they can get it done. Meanwhile, Jameis Winston, I know one of Steve's favorite players.
Yeah.
Kind of regressing a little bit.
No, I think I'm going to like the Falcons here all the way. The fact that they won their last 2, I think they're going to score points. I think the Bucs will score points. I like the over. But I don't see the Falcons having a sustained getting back to 500, even getting back to 500. I think they dug themselves such a deep hole. But I think they've been playing good the last 2 weeks, and I think they'll continue for another week or 2. So I'll take the Falcons.
Yeah, I like the way the Falcons are playing right now, and you don't want to jump in front of a falling knife. I mean, they beat up on the Saints, and last week they proved that it was no fluke at all. So I'm going to take the Falcons as well. That's going to be my pick, and that one we'll move it right along. Seahawks Eagles. This game was the Sunday night game. It got moved up to the to 1 o'clock on Sunday, which makes it 10 o'clock in the morning Seattle time, and rough time slot. I think the Eagles 5-5 coming in. I think if they beat the Patriots last week, maybe it's a different story. But they didn't. We look at the Eagles' 5 losses. Especially the recent ones. It was that beatdown at Dallas. The loss to the Patriots in a game where the Patriots really didn't even play their best football and still managed to get it done. Seattle 8-2 on the season. You want to hear about a quiet 8-2? This is about as quiet as it gets. I mean, for example, the Ravens are 8-2, and people are acting like this is the team.
Seattle's not complaining about staying under the radar, and Russell Wilson is equivalent of Lamar Jackson right now in the MVP discussion.
The thing that they have is they have that straight up win over the 49ers
on the Monday night game.
So, if the 49ers can lose another game, and if they play Seattle again, if Seattle can take that one, it'll be the 49ers being the wild card team, and the Seahawks will could have the home field advantage in the NFC.
49ers have the Packers. That's a stiff game for them, and they could very well lose to the Pack. However, I think I like the Eagles at home.
Oh God, I love betting against the Eagles, and I've been doing it all season. I know I haven't won them all betting against the Eagles, but I've done pretty well. I'm 6-4. I've gone against the Eagles, I believe, every single week so far this season, so I'm hitting 60%. Doing that strategy, that's all we're really looking for. I love the Seahawks in this one. I just think that I think that the Seahawks defense is getting better and better and better every week. We're seeing the Seahawks cast off like Frank Clark, playing well in their new homes, but we're also seeing this Jadeveon Clowney becoming a more integral part of the Seattle defense. And here's a guy who was a top draft pick, a few years ago by the Texans. And you can see the Texans, one of the things that we talked about this morning, and I've been talking about for a couple weeks now, is I loved the Texans early this season, but you could see the losses of Watt and Clowney and all starting to compound at this point in the season. Well, you could see Seattle, Clowney, starting to become a guy who can dominate and starting to really get used to playing with the teammates that he has. Wright has been there forever. He's the kind of the anchor, and you can just know that Seahawks are just Pete Carroll just coaches these guys up. I love the way the Seahawks play. I love the whole next man up. I love that they always have the most undrafted players on their roster. I always like that nobody has a secure starting job, and it's always open competition every single week, every single game, and that's why these guys, you can say what you want about Clappy and the way that his coaching style, but the Seattle Seahawks, it just seems them and the Ravens have the same style where it's like they have full faith and confidence in every player on that roster that they are there and ready to play and fully capable. I mean, do you think Lockett is a superstar on any other team? I mean,
No.
I don't think so,
For all your points, that's why I'm taking the Eagles in this game. I think they trip up coming to the East Coast.
I could see Jedamon Clowney chasing Carson Wentz and probably ending his season. So I can see happening. I love the Seahawks in this one.
All right, I'm going Eagles.
The Eagles have shown me absolutely nothing this season. 3-2 at home straight up, Philadelphia.
Okay.
See who their home losses were. They lost to New England last week was one of them. The other one they lost to the Lions 27-24. It's 4-point favorites. Their home wins were the Jets, the Bears, the Bears, and the Redskins.
Mary,
2, 3, 4, drafting number 2 in the NFL draft. Name 3 of the 5 teams drafting in the first 6 picks of the NFL draft. Who are the Eagles' 3 home wins? Correct.
Washington Redskins.
We were actually looking for Eagles' first 3 home victories, but we'll accept wins. We have
Damn
a
you,
scoring
Trebek.
correction.
Damn you, Trebek.
Our judges were going to give you an additional 200 for. Yeah, I really don't like Wentz is in that it's Goff and Wentz is just like it's Goff and Trubisky and Wentz is a little bit better than them.
Okay.
A little bit.
That's fair.
He's never done anything. He's treated like a Stafford, like he's done something,
The kid has been hurt a lot.
Bears and the Giants, 2 teams that, man, if it was, this is the old NFL. These are the teams. Bears, one of the most disappointing teams in football, 4-6. Giants, pretty much what was expected of them, but 1-4 on the road, but 2-3 against the number. This line has dropped from 9 to 6. The Giants, because they showed such a good performance against the Jets, I guess, 2 weeks ago. I don't even know. I mean, I don't even know how you lay 6 points with the Bears, but I don't even know how you could, go into the Giants at the road game just getting 6 points.
Yeah.
I don't even know where you go with this thing. I would say under 40.5. I mean, this game stinks. This has gone from like what could have been a great game to, this game stinks.
I like the Bears here, though. I think the Giants on the road with the Bears defense. I think the Bears, Daniel Jones, rookie quarterback, really turns the ball over a lot. I think the Bears capitalize on that. I see Mac having a big day, a couple sacks, and Mitch Trubisky aside. I think the Bears are a better team. I don't like the Giants on the road. I think the Bears win by a touchdown.
Those
And
who are
I
watching
appreciate
the show, if you could hit the thumbs up, it's greatly appreciated. If you are not already a subscriber to our YouTube channel, please subscribe. We're so close to 5,000 subscribers, man. That is amazing in just a month and a half.
Right.
But anyways, I like the under in this one. I just think this is the one that this is the insomnia special. It's like if you haven't been able to sleep, you throw on this and eat something. Eat like eat something heavy, like a slice of Chicago pizza or something. And, you just wake up and just
knock yourself out.
You wake up and you kind of be like, "Thank God it's over."
Yeah.
We
And
got the
it's a
Saints.
shame. It used to be, when the Giants would go to Chicago. I mean, that used to be a marquee game, man.
This is like that onion
This
video that I
doesn't
talk
have the
about.
cachet.
This game is like that onion video that I talk about all the time with when the Staples Center collapses and all the Clippers are killed. Baron Davis still had time to brick a three with in double coverage. It's like, but thank God. What's the first thing that came to your mind? God, I hope it killed Chris Kaman. He's awful. He's gone to a better place. A place with no Clippers. We got the Saints at home hosting the Panthers. Man, Ron Rivera, I don't know, 5-5. This Panthers team, I gotta say, pretty disappointing. I know Cam Newton's not there and all that kind of good stuff, but just a flat 500 team. The Saints 8-2 this season, 4-1 at home. The one loss, of course, the head scratcher. The Falcons just really cleaned their clock.
They're allowed to stub their toe. It's a long season.
7-3. Yeah, I mean, it's a rivalry game and all that other stuff. But 9.5 points the Saints laying in this one. 62% of the public.
Yeah. Obviously, New Orleans is the better team. Panthers, as you said, have been disappointing. Christian McCaffrey aside. It's 9.5 points, though. I think the Panthers can play this game in the Dome pretty well, and actually I think the Saints win, but I think the Panthers keep it close. I'll take the points.
I'm going to take the Saints in this one. I just think that they're too much, and I think coming off of the performances that they've had recently, I look for them to bounce back and play strong this week.
Okay.
We got the Cleveland Browns against the Miami Dolphins. 63% of the public on the Dolphins in this one. 2-8. Myles Garrett, the suspension was upheld. Big surprise there. The Browns, of course, on a short week. It's been probably a pretty hectic week there in Cleveland. The Browns laying 10.5 points in this thing. 4-6, still thinking that they have a shot at the playoffs if they can win out. I think it's a harder task without Myles Garrett in there.
I agree.
But 1-3 against the spread at home. The Dolphins actually 3-1 against the spread on the road. Dolphins have been a pretty good cover team recently.
Yeah, they have.
What do you think here in Cleveland?
I think they're going to cover again. I think Cleveland will beat the Dolphins, but 10.5 points. I got zero confidence Cleveland covers that. They're still very dysfunctional with the Myles Garrett thing, a short week. Mayfield has still not really turned it around. I'll take the Dolphins staying close, and I'll take the points and the Dolphins.
I'll take the Dolphins here as well. I think they got a chance to win on the money line. I really don't like the Cleveland Browns. I don't
either now.
I really don't like this team. I haven't liked them all season, and I'm sticking with it. We got the Bengals 0-10. Double-digit losses here. I don't know, man. It's 0-10 against the Steelers, 5-5. The Steelers have had their number for a long time. Pouncey's still suspended for 2 games now. I don't know. You could, whatever, I guess the stomping.
It's not devastating to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I know, but is it the stomping on the face? Is that was the reasoning? If he just pulls him off and holds him back, or
Yeah, he did some stomping.
It's the stomping.
There's history of stomping suspensions.
Yeah, I guess it's
Stu and Albert Hainsworth those are 2. So 2 games is. That's the medicine doled out to them. But back to the Bengals and the Steelers. Yeah, I was going to bring that up. The Steelers historically have the Bengals number. Obviously, the Steelers got caught up in the Myles Garrett thing, too. The Bengals, I don't know, Ryan Finley, they're 0-10. I think they're kind of in the position where there's 6 games to go. They need a franchise quarterback. Not saying they're tanking, but I think the Steelers are a better team, and I like the Steelers to win by a touchdown.
I like the Steelers in this one, too. The Bengals just haven't shown me anything. I know they covered last week against the Raiders, but I don't see them covering in this one. We got the Jets hosting the Raiders. The Jets 3-7 now on the season. They got the win over the Giants and the Redskins, playing themselves right out of the top 10 in the NFL draft. At least trying to. That's Andrew Gay's football. Raiders 6-4. They're in the playoff picture here in the AFC, but not a great road team. 1-3 on the road.
Listen, I've been crushing the New York Jets all year just because they're a local team for me, so I'm intimately familiar with the ongoings on a daily basis there. I think the Raiders coming across the country, they're not, the Oakland Raiders of old, but Gruden's done a good job to get them at 6-4. The Jets, on the other hand, I just can't see them having it. I think they're too inconsistent up and down team. Darnold had a good week, then he has a bad week. Le'Veon Bell still has not been able to rush the ball. The offensive line on the Jets is still a big problem. Jets defense is playing better, Jamal Adams in particular. That being said, I'll take the Oakland Raiders on the road, win by a field goal.
I think this one is an interesting game, the Jets and the Raiders. And looking at it on the surface, the Raiders are a pretty easy choice, but you dig a little deeper, and the Jets have been playing well against some pretty lousy competition, though. I'm going to take the Raiders here. This is a lean right now. I don't know. It's like I feel that a Jets win, but I can't say it. We got the Lions -3.5 visiting the Redskins. Haskins is just
deer in the headlight.
Yeah, I don't understand it. It's like, why is he out there? Why is he playing? Is this the type of experience
Snyder dictated that he wants to see his number one draft pick play, and that's as simple as that.
He's not ready.
No, he's not, but it's still coming from the ivory tower, and the circus in Washington with management, so I'm not surprised that he's out on the field. And again, now, the Skins are one of the other teams that'll be playing for a top 4 or 5 pick at this point. So the Lions, because I've seen what the Redskins have done the last couple of weeks, and Haskins up close, I'll take the Lions on the road here. 3.5.
I'm going to have to go with the Lions as well. I do not like the way the Redskins are playing. I think that they are the worst team. I know they beat the Dolphins, but I don't think they would beat them right now.
They're bad.
They absolutely stink. Of course, if you're watching us, if you could hit the thumbs up, greatly appreciated. And, of course, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to our channel. Jacoby Ellsbury was cut today. He is my guy that I use as an example often in baseball, talking about his $26 million salary. The guy hasn't played in years. What's wrong with baseball? Jacoby Ellsbury. He's still going to get paid. He still gets the money, so it's kind of just, it's more of a paperwork thing.
But, he signed a 7-year contract with the Yankees, and now for the audience, he's owed $21 million plus a $5 million, buyout. And who's got it better than Jacoby Ellsbury for the next year, right?
Well, this is what's wrong with baseball.
It's a perfect example of.
I use it all the time.
Wasted money.
Yep. It's like, and how much are tickets at Yankee Stadium these days? How much is a beer at Yankee Stadium, and how much is a hot dog, and how much is all that stuff? It's to pay Jacoby Ellsbury, and that's just horrific because the Yankees don't really have the payroll that they have had in the past. At least not of the players that are on the field. They probably got some guys on the shelf, like CC, that they had to pay, and
still at about $200 million, but not at 240, 250 like the Red Sox or Dodgers.
I don't even think it's that high.
They're at about 190.
Stanton
they got it.
Is probably making that kind of money.
Right. Stanton is worth. We owe him another 7 years too. So
all guaranteed. So
all guaranteed.
In the NFL,
whether he plays or not, 7 years.
Yep. Whether he's cut, it's the Chris Davis problem in Baltimore.
Oh, it is.
It's all the same. But Jacoby Ellsbury gonna have to find a new example. For that. Yankees payroll is Well, Stanton made $26 million, Tanaka $22 million, Ellsbury didn't even play, $21,142,857. Araldis, the girlfriend choker, $17,200,000. Yeah, they still got some pretty. There's still a lot of beefy salaries out there. Well, usually when you look at these salaries, Hap at $17 million. There's the nasty one. Zach Britton at $13 million. Probably a bargain there compared to what these other guys are making. LeMayu at 12, Didi 11.7. That's probably, as far as baseball salaries go, that one's probably in line. Adam Ottavino $9 million. Paxton a bargain at 8.575. CC makes 8. Brett Gardner 7.5. Betances 7.25. Severino 4.5. And as you go down here, you start to see where the Yankees payroll is going to be really, really, really expensive in the future, as Aaron Judge is making $684,000, and he's going to probably want a little bit of a raise. Gary Sanchez $669,000, Andujar $617,000, Torres $605,000. So I'm going to guess those guys are going to cost them some money. Herman $577,000. They got some problems, as far as future salaries go. So clearing out Jacoby Ellsbury is probably part of that. At least
it's a big part. Plus, some Mafia comes off the books. Ellsbury, like you said, they'll be shaving some names off the roster.
I talk about Aaron Rodgers' percentage of his salary for the Green Bay Packers. Why don't the Packers have a good defense? Because Aaron Rodgers can't tackle. And it's because he takes up, basically a defense worth of salary in a salary cap system. But, when you look at the Yankees, Jacoby Ellsbury is 10% of the Yankees payroll. And you're talking a big, a $210 million payroll. This guy's 10% of it. And, he hasn't swung the bat for years.
Not since 2017.
Yeah, he's got the same numbers as Nomar Garcia-Pera had last season. Anyways,
exactly.
Let's keep going. Baseball contracts, it's one of those things. It's out of hand, Titans versus the Jaguars. 5-5 against 4-6. Nick Foles returned, looked a little rusty. Meanwhile, the Titans, they've been off for a couple weeks now. Let Tannehill gel with the unit a little more. I like the Titans receivers. It'll be interesting to see, you figure 5-5, so that translates to 8-8, 9-7, 7-9, in that range. Probably that puts you around 16, 17 in the draft area. The Titans thinking quarterback at this point, they have to be. Or possibly looking at one of these retread veterans to bring in or something, because they have some issues there at quarterback. Anyways, they're laying 3 here against the Jags. 67% of the bets on the Titans after that second half performance by the Jags last week against the Colts. That was
pretty bad.
The tackling, just I don't even know what even happened there on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't like the Titans at all, and I don't like.
And I don't like the Jags at all. So what do we do?
I say it's going to be 10-9, and we take under 41.5. I think that's exactly what you do in a game like this, because you got just not a lot of scoring.
No, I'm with you.
I mean, that's what I'm going to
do. I'll go under.
It's like, I hate the game so much. And it's like, I like defensive games, but for some reason I have a feeling I'm not going to like that one. So there's only 2 of the 4 o'clock games this week, and that's one of them. They couldn't move the Eagles-Seahawks to 4 o'clock, right? And they had to put it at 1 o'clock because of this game. The Dallas Cowboys going up against the New England Patriots. Cowboys 6.5-point dogs here on the road. Kind of the world on the Patriots coming off of that really lousy offensive performance against the Eagles, but I would imagine that Tom Brady is He definitely is a student of the
Fine
game.
tuning his sword for this weekend.
Tom Brady's not a guy that kind of just takes it all for granted and just tries to, the practice is over, leaves early. He's more of a type that, he's going to sit there and do whatever it takes. And, especially the film study and the working with specifically with his receivers to work out different patterns and timing and to come up with some different ways to get the offense going. Probably to work with the offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach, basically every resource he has available, because I don't know him personally, but I know enough about Tom Brady, like him, hate him, anything like that. Turtle from Entourage hated him, then they liked him, right? But it's basically this guy is going to do what he has limited ability. Okay, there I said. Okay, he's not. He might be a winner. He might be all of those things, but he doesn't have Lamar Jackson legs. He doesn't have a Michael Vick cannon arm. He doesn't have a Phil Rivers quick release. He doesn't have any of those things. He
never really had.
What's that?
He said he never really had.
No, he's never had any of those things. But
right.
What he is, he's a student of the game. He doesn't beat himself. He does get hit in the pocket. He's fairly tough. He's only been injured the one time, and he can take a hit in the pocket. He whines like a little girl. I mean, no doubt about it. It's like, who's the people used to always ask me this question, and they got sick of my answer. Who's the best quarterback in the NFL? This is when Peyton Manning was at the Colts and everything. That's when I used to really hear it a lot. When I lived in Chicago, is when I always heard this question. Who's the best quarterback in the NFL? I said, the one that is the closest to a lawyer that you could think of, because the best quarterbacks, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, they're already arguing with the referees and pointing out about this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy before the game's even started. They've already are leaning into the refs explaining to what this guy does, because they've been watching it on film all week, and they're like, this guy does this and this guy does this, watch for this and this and this, and they're campaigning in every snap. It could be a touchdown pass. They're still complaining about the guy.
True.
They do it all the time, and Tom Brady, I'm gonna guess he's gonna be ready for this. And the Cowboys have not been a good road team. They have not been good on the road team. And Bill Belichick, he always takes one thing away. It's gonna be Ezekiel Elliott, right? It's gonna be. So
it's gonna for the third consecutive week that Zeke probably doesn't go over 100 yards. I think you're absolutely right.
This could be a 34-10 game.
I love New England here. I do all the way here, 6.5.
Yeah, I like them too. I like the Pats all the way. Got the opt-in Sunday night game. San Francisco 49ers, 9-1 against the Green Bay Packers, 8-2. The Packers had the week off. They always need it because they're always thin. They're just always thin. And the Niners, they got that win against the Cardinals. The Cardinals seem to have their number. They kind of struggle against them a little bit in both the games this season. I wouldn't say a 10-point win is struggling, but I'll just say not as impressive as they've looked against some of the other teams out there. Meanwhile, the Packers, this is Aaron Rodgers' spot, where it's like, it looks like it's a jailbreak pass rush on every single play. And he's getting hit and he's getting sacked, and he's sacked 8-9 times. And, he keeps getting up off the canvas and getting him up off the canvas. The Golden Tate game with the Packers, with the fake refs, Aaron Rodgers was sacked 9 times in the first half of that game, and they rallied all the way back before the Golden Tate catch, no catch, whatever it was. Yeah. They rallied all the way back, but he was sacked 9 times in the first half, and this has that type of game written on. He's going to be under a lot of pressure. They know they have to get to Rodgers, because if they don't, and if they leave that window open and the lead is less than 3 or 4 points at the end of the game, they are going to lose, the 49ers, outright. They will lose outright if they let that happen. Their only chance is to get this thing to like 26-7 late. That is their only chance of winning this game. I don't think they let it. I don't think it happens. I like Aaron Rodgers. These are his games. This is why he's Aaron Rodgers. This is why he is the best quarterback in the NFL, and he doesn't complain the most. And this is, he gets his coach fired, but he's not going to complain He doesn't complain about the refs. He doesn't complain about getting hit. He doesn't complain about any of those things. He might give his receivers dirty looks. He might, stop throwing it to a guy altogether, blacklist his own teammates. He does it, We don't hear about it in the press, but you could see it out on the field when he does it. The guy drops a wide open pass or whatever. You might not throw another ball to that guy all game, and the guy might be gone the next week, quietly cut,
Sure.
He's not a named player. But I don't know. This is where Aaron Rodgers lives. This is his game. This is, Sunday Night Football in San Francisco and, the pass rush and everything else. It's like I could see the Niners running the football on the Packers, really kind of taking it to them. And then all of a sudden, something changes. It's like you can't even explain it, It's like it should not happen, but it does. We've seen it so many times.
I'm with you. I think I like the Packers here. To your point, also, Aaron Jones on Green Bay's really been very efficient, scoring a lot of touchdowns for the Green Bay Packers. So, to your point, I think Rodgers shines in the big moments, and the Niners are still a good team, but I'll take Aaron Rodgers here.
Yeah, I just have to go with the Pack in this spot, and it's like I don't love this Packers team, and I do think that against they're 8-2. I mean, which is amazing, for a first-year head coach, especially, is pretty amazing.
I agree.
Aaron Rodgers, he takes up so much of that payroll. He doesn't have a lot to work with. But I'm going to guess during that off week, maybe they got something together. Maybe they worked on some things. And I think that the Niners' defense is a little over-aggressive at times. And I think that there are holes there in the secondary, and I think he will find them. And normally he goes over the top on teams, and that usually is – it just gets them more mad and frustrated. It's kind of like – I don't even understand how he does it. But if I'm the Packers, man, I just don't know why you don't say, I'll give you a first-round pick for this year, a second-rounder for next year, and just give me Julio Jones to put with this guy for just a year or two. That's all I want to see, And it's like I think that Julio Jones and Aaron Rodgers would be – one of the greatest combinations. It was like when Randy Moss was playing with Brady, kind of just, a different level of game, right? And it's like, I just think that those guys match each other. That catch in the Super Bowl when Julio Jones caught that ball is one of the greatest catches, you'll ever see. If the Falcons win that game, he's seen as one of the greatest catches up there with the
NFL lore.
It was such a good catch. Bill Belichick reached out the challenge flag, and he just said, "Forget it." He's like, "I don't even have anything here to work with." It's just like he's like, "What are you supposed to do about that?" And here's the greatest defensive mind in the history of the game saying, there's nothing you can there's nothing you can do.
You tip your hat. That's all you can.
And I just think Aaron Rodgers and him, because Aaron Rodgers creates those plays and he throws the ball in those spots. Just when you think he can't do it is when he always does it. And it's like, that's why he hits those Hail Mary passes. It just seems he's the highest Hail Mary percentage thrower there's ever been, It's just
he's pretty good at it.
I believe he is the best quarterback in football. He's the guy. If I had my choice of any quarterback in the NFL, I'm not saying, to build my franchise for the future because obviously it's later in his career, but I'd say if you gave me at the beginning of the season, say you could have any quarterback, that's the guy I would take. And it's just because he can do those things by himself that other
he's
guys
he's a surgeon. He's probably the most
surgeon, and he also he plays hurt. He also he creates, like the great players create and improvise. It's Matt Stafford. If it's not on the script, it ain't gonna happen. And I'll tell you what, even if it is on the script, he's probably not going to execute it 100% correctly. But Aaron Rodgers, it's when he goes off the script, and Russell Wilson is probably, my second choice.
He's right there.
He's my second choice.
Those intangibles.
And Lamar Jackson may get to that point because he can create those opportunities for himself, but he's not as good as those two guys.
Yeah, he's not a precision passer like these guys are.
Right. Well, I mean,
it's just a different style.
People, a lot of people forget that Russell Wilson was also a baseball player too.
That's right, he was. Yeah,
so,
very athletic he is.
Speaking about quarterbacks, it's the Jared Goff show in Los Angeles on Monday Night Football. The Rams 6-4. There is no tomorrow. They go to 6-5. We go to the standings in the NFC real quick and take a quick look and see exactly what's going on here in the NFL as we head into, these are the double-digit weeks. So it was all those other weeks that, it's like Pete Rose says, in baseball, it's those games in April that make the games in October, mean something. And it's the same thing here in the NFL. It's those games in September and October that make these late November, December games mean something. So the Rams, when we look at the
they're 6-4, lagging behind Seattle and San Francisco.
Yeah, so they're lagging behind Seattle, San Francisco. But the other problem that they have here, on top of that, is that the Vikings are in there as well, and the Packers. So you got two teams, from that other division.
Right. That
so
from a wide perspective are sitting pretty.
Because I think it's either 49ers, Seahawks, Packers or Vikings, Saints, and then,
I'm going to say the Eagles are going to win the NFC East because that schedule's better than the Cowboys.
I don't know. The Cowboys,
I think the Cowboys, we just talked, we both think they're going to lose this week, and that will...
yeah, but the Eagles are going to lose too. I got the Eagles are going to lose again.
You got the Eagles to win.
Redskins, Jets...
Well, I know. Well,
that is who they beat.
I think they got the Redskins again.
Thank God they're not playing the Lions this week.
They got the Giants again.
The Lions housed them. So you get beat at home by the Detroit Lions, you got some serious soul searching.
You got some serious issues, my friend.
It's like there's certain people in this locker room. I'm not going to mention any names because they know who they are.
I love that one.
Let's just say their name rhymes with Larson Pence. Not going to mention any names specifically.
Okay.
All right, Monday Night Football, Rams and Ravens. The Ravens, the world loves the Ravens right now. A couple weeks ago against the Patriots, I was a loner. And when they drafted Lamar Jackson, and I said, this guy is the future of this franchise, people laughed at me. They said, he's frail, he can't throw, they're going to convert him to a wide receiver or one of these like slot backs, like Cordell Stewart type players. I said, no, this guy is going to be the scat back running back for this team, and he can throw on the run kind of like a Nebraska quarterback. And unfortunately, his passing ability is kind of like a Nebraska quarterback. It's not Michael
It's getting better.
But I think it's something they can fix. I really do. I think
it's getting better, actually.
If there's two things that Lamar Jackson has to fix, and the one thing is going to sit with him for his entire career, and that's that when he does take off, he does have the loaf of bread. He does,
Right.
And there will be a day,
and he's going to get hit and hit and hit over time too.
There will be a day where a team will instead of having a linebacker spy him, they'll put Darryl Green on him, and it will not work anymore. That's the answer. Is that you take out one of your linebackers instead of your linebacker, you use, a Darryl Green type or something like that, right? Because there's no way he's going to outrun him. The Bengals could take Ross. He doesn't do anything else, right? So why not put him at like a spy position, kind of right? It's like, how would he wouldn't be able to do it. He would not be able to do it against something like that. I don't know. These defensive coordinators don't watch my show. They're like, well, he doesn't have a vote anymore for the outlet, so why am I listening to him?
He's banned.
Mitch, we'd like to speak to you.
I like the Rams here, though.
We'd like to speak to you about your vote. Oh, really? Yes, you won't be getting one. Let me cut to the chase.
Your voting privilege.
I'm really excited about playing. Well, you really don't need to prepare that much. You won't actually be voting. Now, you could put your own vote together, won't be counting towards the actual All-American team this year. It was I saved the email. It's really one of my all-time favorites. That one, I have like all my rejections. You know, people like when I first started my very first website, and I asked all these people to help me. Can I be on your website? Can you do this or whatever? All these people rejected me. It's the same people that I got to reject later on down the road. But the one people I've never got to reject is the College Football Writers of Association of America, who let me in, took my dues, let me vote, and then threw me out. Still friends with the guys. Still friends with them.
No hard feelings. No hard feelings.
We're still, they like send me emails out to call me. It's like, remember when you threw me out of the College Football Writers of Association? It was like one of my proudest days. My whole life I like loved college football. I got into the College Football Writers Association of America. I was so excited. It was like my crowning achievement at the time.
Oh yeah. Right.
Oh my God. It was like, man, it was a rough day. Anyways, speaking of rough days, Jared Goff against that Ravens defense. You know, I'm worried here about the Rams defense being on the field for a really long time against the Ravens offense too. And Jared Goff needs field position to be successful. I think they're in trouble. The line looks a little fishy. With it's like the Rams are a 3-point home dog here.
Yep.
A lot of people still have faith in the Rams. I noticed because I did this YouTube video on this game, and I read every comment that's left on my YouTube videos. Every single one of them. And I read every Facebook comment it made in our Facebook group, whether I comment on the post or not. I read every single one of them. And I read every single comment on every one of my shows. I read everything that everybody says on Twitter, all the messages. Anyone that's ever sent me an email, left me a message, whatever, everyone knows I respond 100% of the time because I care what you guys have to say, because it's kind of like I want more of you guys to come around. I want you guys to stay around. But I can't buy into this Rams situation. I don't think that Todd Gurley is improving. I don't see it. I saw that they went to him with a little bit of the dink and dunk passing game, but I don't think that's going to work against this Ravens team. I don't think they're going to have the football long enough to keep Todd Gurley effective. You know, kind of like that Patriots. You know, how is Bill Belichick going to take away Ezekiel Elliott? Well, first he's not going to let him run, and then he's going to put him in a 20-point hole and see how much they want to run the football then. But and I think it's going to be the same thing, because the Ravens have this thing that we've seen from the really good teams in the past, and they are looking like a Super Bowl team, and I hate to say that at this point. You know, and it's not that I don't like the Ravens. I just think it's a little early to start talking about things like that. But they are
definitely in contention. I'm not anointing them Super Bowl bound.
There was the last time the Giants won the Super Bowl when they beat the Patriots. The famous last pass where kind of like Gronk makes a dive for it, but he wasn't going to catch it anyway, right? And it's kind of like that Super Bowl. That year, you know, the Ravens lost a heartbreaker in New England. You know, they had lost a heartbreaker in the playoffs. And they asked Ray Lewis, like, after the season, whatever, and he was on and said, you know, do you think it would have made a difference, you know, if you got this call or whatever in this game? And he said, it doesn't matter what would have happened in that game. He said, we win, they win, this call, that call. He said, nobody was going to beat the Giants that year. He's like, it just happens. And I think the Ravens are starting to look like that team. And the Ravens, the last time they won the Super Bowl, I'm not so sure they really looked that way when they beat the 49ers. But the year they beat the Giants, the Kerry Collins team, they really did look that way. And this is what this team looks like, but with a better quarterback than that team had. This is a scary, scary Ravens team. I love teams that run the football and play defense, and it's like that's what this team does.
Well, those are two staples of what they do. Nobody's denying that.
You know, the Thunder and Lightning.
Mark Ingram has really been a great acquisition for them. But, you know, they're going to travel West Coast. It's a primetime game. I don't think the Rams are buried yet. I don't like their chances right now, though, to make the playoffs, but I think they got some fight in them. I think the Ravens will be like 12-4 this year, and I can see this as a trip-up game. And the fact that the Rams are getting 3 points, I'll take the Rams.
Oh, my God. I love the Ravens' defense against Goff. I just do.
Okay.
The Ravens aren't backing down from anyone. Defense and running game will travel, and this is the matchup of, you know, I could see the Rams possibly doing something, but they don't even have the edge in the kicking game in this one. And it's like, I mean, they have no edges. I don't see one. Lamar
Tuck.
Jackson or Goff? Who do you like there?
What's that?
Who do you like, Lamar Jackson or Goff? If you have
Well, obviously Lamar Jackson's playing much better, no doubt.
What about the Ravens trio of running backs with Ingram, Gus Edwards, and Lamar Jackson in that mix versus Todd Gurley?
Listen, obviously, I think the Ravens are a much better team right now. I do. But I still think the Rams have a puncher's chance. They're home. It's kind of like, they got to make a stand here and really, start winning games and see if they can get back into wild card contention. That's all.
Ravens have the better coach too. I like the Ravens.
I'm a John Harbaugh fan.
I like the Ravens all the way in this one. I don't see
I
it.
got the Rams.
I don't see how the Rams even contend because I think the Ravens are going to be way up for it because they are a Monday Night Football type team, And this team, like I said about the Seahawks, they have faith in each other. They are believing in each other. And when you start, it's a team game. And it's like the Packers believe in Aaron Rodgers, right? They all believe that, no matter what happens, Aaron Rodgers can lead us to victory. And if we buy into this in the last 8 minutes of any football game, we're going to, we have a good chance to win. But the Ravens walk out of the locker room like that and believing in every man on that roster from the punter to the long snapper. And the same thing, with the Seahawks. Those are the two teams that do that. I think that the Niners are kind of like trying to foster that, but they don't have it. They don't have the same thing, and that's the difference. It's like they used to call it "Who wants it more." That's what they used to say. They wanted it more than we did, right? They wanted more than we did, and I think that you still have some of that, but I think it's more that these guys have bought into it more, and you don't see John Harbaugh fostering that type of environment as much. He's more of a coach. No, but Clappy is the guy that does it in Seattle. I mean, he's like, you're my guys, and we're gonna hug it out, and I'm gonna clap like crazy no matter what the hell happens, and it's a different environment, and it's like when he has the guys to do it, and everyone's truly bought into it all the way from top to bottom. This is the result. And this Ravens team, I could see them going 13-3 or 14-2 this season. At this point, I don't.
12-4.
Who's going to beat them?
I'm just saying,
So you got the Rams beating them. Let's take a look at the schedule to get to this record. Because when we look at, they're one game behind the Patriots in the standings.
Yeah.
But it's like I don't think that they have a schedule that gets them to 4-2. Because they got the Rams, then they play the Niners in the possible Super Bowl preview that a lot of people think. But here's how they close it out: Buffalo, Jets, Browns, Steelers.
Well, the Steelers is always a war, and Buffalo is 7-3 right now.
Home against the Steelers.
I get that, but they can still trip up 2 games going down the stretch. But they are a bona fide contender. There's no question. I'm not discounting them. I'm a fan of Baltimore. But again, I'm sticking to my point that the Rams are home and they got a puncher's chance to get back into the wild card. And if they're going to do it, this is the game they do it.
I could see Goff single-handedly taking the Rams out of this game.
Of course you can.
I have to say that the Rams fans, not even listening to my Goff argument.
For under 3 interceptions for Jared Goff.
I've had some comments on my on my YouTube. Like I said, I read all the YouTube comments. I've had some comments as I stopped listening when this guy started pounding on Goff.
Okay.
Hear me out. It's like my Kansas State video. I'm like, at some point, you got to stop trying to figure out what this offense is and just accept it and enjoy it. It's like that's it.
It is.
I mean, I don't know what it is. It looks like the hidden bulge play, where they all get together like in a circle and someone comes out of one of the.
Somebody comes out with it.
Yeah, that is how the Kansas State offense is. It's always like this running back, right, or the quarterback, Colin Klein, somebody, right? It's like you just can't. I don't understand it. I never have. but they've always run the same thing, and it's always been really, really effective. And then they always do have like the locket that they can throw the ball deep to. Because like when everyone's like looking for the hidden ball, and he's got it tucked behind the pad.
Guy's 20 yards downfield, wide open, and then boom.
Kansas State most likely to run the Statue of Liberty play. It's Kansas State.
That's true.
All right, we had a good show today. We made it through all the games. Perfect hour time limit here. Of course,
Bam.
We'll be back tomorrow with our free-for-all Friday football. Took the under in tonight's game. Both like the Buffalo Bills in their game. We both took the Falcons over the Panthers, the Seahawks. I took the Saints. Steve likes the healthy 9.5 points with the Panthers. I took the Dolphins outright. Steve likes them with the points.
Yeah.
Both took the Steelers, the Raiders, the Lions. A lot of agreeing this week. We both like the unders and the Titans, the Patriots, the Packers. And then Monday Night Football, I like the Ravens all the way. I'm anti-Goff. I've bet against him every single week this season just about. And I will continue to do so. I hate Goff. He's got no room on my roster. It's like
I can work with him.
I mean, what's Goff making?
He signed a big deal. He's got to be in. He's got to be at $30 million or late 28.
He $4.3 million this season. He would have been paid. Whoa. Oh wait, he got an extension.
He got the big extension.
Whoa, 33.5. 134 million over 4 years.
Not bad, huh?
Gosh, he stinks.
Now you really hate him.
I just don't understand it. At least I don't have to pay for the tickets to watch him in action.
All right.
Anyways, thanks everyone for joining us,
Yep.
Steve. Another good show. Of course, we'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back tonight, halftime of that football game. Come early because I have a feeling it's going to be one of those quick games. A lot of running, a lot of defense.
Yep.
There'll be it'll be one of those games where it's like, how could they, didn't they just go to commercial? Because they'll have to cram in the commercials. Like, sometimes they have the punt and then the other team takes over and they do it without the commercials. This will be one of those ones where it's like, there'll be a point in the game that comes where it's just like commercial because they got to like stuff them in. It's like, they always do it on the timeouts too. Oh, it'll be a 30-second timeout. No, not in this one. This is going to be,
right.
we're going to sit through the whole thing, What will be the most common played commercial tonight? I'm going to guess, I'm going to go for the...
I don't watch commercials. I can't answer that question.
Probably Geico. It's one of these Geico commercials.
I'll never know because I won't watch a commercial.
Not even during the football. See, I have them on the top and all over the place. All right, guys. Enjoy it. Have a great day. I'll see you guys in the Facebook group. Be sure to subscribe, like, do all that kind of good stuff. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night. Bye.